Good evening, everyone, and welcome to April's edition of the AnCan Art Friends. We are so glad to have you here. I have three brief announcements that I need to make before we get started with our class. One is Hannah and I are both in severe weather right now. If you are watching this recording on YouTube, then that means that this went fine. But I'm saying for our participants here that if for some reason we both get disconnected, we will reschedule this class. We'll come back to it, no worries. But we may pop in and out, don't know. We don't know. We're doing this live. The second thing is I want to give a big happy birthday to my fiance, Brian. He's turned 35. He's a two-time cancer survivor. And so, as you know, if you have chronic illness or have had cancer, still have cancer, birthday's a big deal. So happy birthday, Brian. And finally, one of the things I'd like to say is, unfortunately, recently, one of our board members, Herbert Geller, died. He was a big believer in this art class. He helped voted to keep it going. And for that, we are very appreciative. We are sending our deepest condolences to him and his family during this difficult time. So thank you, Herb. And Hannah, what do you got for us tonight?
All right. Well, before we begin, I just want to say belated happy birthday to you, Alexa. It was just your birthday recently, so happy birthday.
Thank you, Hannah. I appreciate that.
Of course, needed to be said. So let's go ahead and begin. We're going to be doing what I call I guess everybody calls it this, a watercolor wax resist painting. We see here clouds, we see here a lovely mountain, and I want you guys to just think about how many clouds you might want. Think about how many mountain sections you might want. I have here my watercolors. I have crayons, a bunch of them right here. I have my water, my napkins. I have my two types of brushes, but we may not use them. It really just depends on you. My flat brush here, it's going to get me through my larger areas on my canvas. So that's really how I see this. And I'm probably going to be using my flat brush for my mountain sides. We also have a round brush. This one in particular is size number 8. However, if just hit the ballpark, okay? If you have something similar, that's okay. I'm probably going to use this for any smaller mountains I might have in here. It just kind of depends on how things are going, how things I feel. But for the most part, this flat brush is going to be my my best friend. This one is a 3/4 inch size. So even if you have just a ballpark size somewhere in that area, you're doing great. Now you'll see this is kind of a big paper, okay? I'm not gonna paint on a page this size, but that doesn't mean that you have to be limited, okay? Not at all. I was saying earlier that I originally created this picture for a class that takes about 2 hours. However, we don't have 2 hours, we have an hour and a half. So I'm going to do a smaller page. This one right here is going to be 9 by 12. But again, whatever you have is totally fine. I actually want to show you guys a few other examples just to show you the kind of diversity you can create with your mountains and with your clouds, with your brush strokes, your mark making with the crayons. Here's actually my very first one. So let me just zoom out a little bit so you can see that. My very first one, so I have some golden clouds up here. I have some dark mountains, some mist down here, the same color as the clouds. So again, very diverse. There's a lot you can do. You can see how different these two are. Same technique, however, just different colors. And then one more, I don't want to overwhelm you guys. Just show you one more. I decided to go pink with this one, pink and purple. So as you can see, I have some purple clouds. I actually created this using like a peach color because I knew that the peach was going to stand out against the purple. So that leads me into my next thing that I wanted to talk to you about. I have a color wheel right here. there you have it. So go ahead if you want to, you can take a screenshot of it. Not that I'm really going to be referencing it. I'm really not. I just wanted to show it to you just to give you an idea of what sort of color choices there are out there and the ideas that I like to think about whenever I'm choosing my colors. So I like to choose colors that are somewhere on the opposite sides of the spectrum. So say I'm using a yellow crayon, for example. Maybe I'll want to do something. I have a yellow crayon, but I want it to stand out against whatever I choose for my watercolor. So in that case, I'm going to look to this side. I'm going to look to something that's darker. Purple is on the exact opposite. This is a complementary color. I won't quiz you later, okay? But I want to choose something that's a little bit darker. I could go with red. Red's really going to stand out because it's on this side. I could choose blue. I can even use green actually, as long as it's a darker color. Um, so that's really going to be my thought process when it comes to choosing colors for your crayons. We're going to do that first. We're going to use our crayons first. I chose with this one, the original picture. I chose to use this sort of pink color. It's like a dark pink. I chose to use yellow. I chose to use white. And then I have just a little bit of some, I think it's like a powder blue or like a baby blue of some sort down here. You can barely see it. So that's 3 to 4 colors for our mountains. So think about 3 to 4 colors for your mountains. And we want to think of our color choices in terms of opposites. So our mountain colors are going to be very different from our crayon colors. So just kind of have that in your mind, okay? Our clouds, anything goes, really anything goes. Um, I have here like that same kind of light blue that I created it with. And then I also have some yellow. The same two colors that I have in the mountains I use for the clouds as well. So really it can go anywhere. I remember thinking that, okay, I got this down. I got the what is it? I got the colors down. And I remember thinking that I want to change it completely from my original thought. And you can absolutely do that. You can change it as things move along and as we keep going. So let's do this. Let's choose 3 to 4 colors for your mountains. Set those aside. And then we'll choose 1 to 2 colors for your clouds. And then we'll worry about the sky later. We don't even have to think about the sky right now. So we'll worry about that later. 3 to 4 colors for your mountains, 1 to 2 colors for your clouds. Whatever you choose, we're going to start to draw everything using our lightest color. So whatever your light color is, whatever you want to be at the top of your mountain, that's what we're going to start with. And I want to show you, I think you can see it a little more easily in this one. Whenever we start to draw, I'm going to start off with one color. Like I said, I am going to draw everything with the one color first. And then we're going to start making our marks. And at some point, we're going to want to move on to our second color. So our second color is going to be in the middle here. So somewhere in the middle of our mountains. And then it's going to drag down. It's going to go down. And then we're going to move on into our third color. Our third color is going to be closer to the bottom. However, all of our colors are going to overlap each other. They're going to intermix. They're going to mingle. So they're all going to eventually overlap, but we're going to start with a top color, a middle color, and then a bottom color for each and every mountain. So let me go ahead and go through my process.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, since I'm picking color palettes from my array, and I originally, I don't know why, but I picked sort of a pastel-y color. So should we pick more vibrant colors? Or at least for the bottom, can I go more pastel?
Yeah, I think that'll be fine. And I know, Karen, I know you're using like the tablet. I don't know how how the watercolor is going to react with your sort of crayon
Yeah, we've
function
done
on your
something like this
tablet?
before. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, now that you said that, the crayon is the first thing, so I shouldn't go light with the crayon because the
Yeah, I mean, if that's
watercolors are going to
how,
be lighter. I guess I
if,
can't see from looking at your painting which was
Mhm.
crayon and which isn't.
Oh, okay. So you can see these scribbles here. These are all crayons. And I'm glad you pointed that out because it's the scribbles that we're going to start with. And these particular scribbles, I would consider them lighter colors. So this is a light yellow. This is, of course, white. I pointed out a baby blue color. The only color that probably isn't a light color is this one. It's the pink right here. Um, and even then, I went over it because we were talking about opposites, remember? So this is actually very, very, just a very light amount of color on up on at the top here, to where it sort of resembles white. So I mean, it's not white, but it kind of resembles white a little bit. So you can see the dark color very clearly because I have hardly any watercolor on top. Therefore, the watercolor is a light color. However, when I go down here, especially in the middle and at the bottom, all of these colors are darker colors. So I got a dark green and I have a darker, vibrant blue here. Because they're darker, they're going to stand out and they're going to make your crayons stand out because our crayons were lighter. Lighter crayons, darker watercolors. Hope that clarifies a little bit.
For that, I could always try it before we
Yeah.
get to the real painting to see what.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, of course, you can always try it out. So, and let me show you another example. I feel like this one, you can see things a little more clearly. So I have this mauve color over here. And this mauve color, I wouldn't really consider it like a light color, but compared to the purple that's on top of it, compared to that purple, it really stands out. Then I have this vibrant pink. Again, I wouldn't consider the pink was it a light color, but compared to my watercolor, it stands out quite a bit. So the yellow, I think it stands to be said that's pretty light anyway, no matter what. So any other questions? Okay, let's do it. Now I have a couple colors here. I might switch out this green for something else. And you're more than welcome to throw in some other colors later if you feel like it. So you can change your mind for any of these colors, anything that we're doing. With these, I want to show you guys. Let's get back to this one. You can see that I have 3 clouds. That doesn't mean that you have to create 3 clouds. I have 3 mountain peaks. So there's a peak there. Here's a peak area here. And then our biggest one right up here at the top. So even though I have 3 different sections, that doesn't mean that you need to have 3 sections. Whatever works for you is best. That's what I want. No matter what, we're going to want to think of this picture as us zooming in on the mountain. We can see it really close by or close up. So we're zooming in, our mountain's really big. Our clouds are right there. They're super close to us. So think about that. I'm going to start off with what I feel like is the easiest thing, but that's just me. I'm going to start off with a cloud. And actually, I do want a different color for my cloud. Maybe I'll go with that golden idea. Make a golden cloud. Maybe I'll do
Can I get a question real quick?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, so I think I'm a little confused. Do
Mhm.
our crayons need to be opposite colors, or is it that whatever colors we pick crayon wise, our watercolor has to be opposite of those ones?
So it's crayons versus watercolor. Those are the opposites.
The opposites. Okay. Thank you for clarifying. Thank you.
Yeah, good question. Any more questions?
I have one quick question about
Yeah.
crayons. Only
Mhm.
because I only have 10, so I don't have many light options. So just as
Yeah.
a quick aside, because I'm like, oh, I need to obviously buy crayons. I see that now they're like permanent and then there are washable crayons. Does it matter, like in this case, which one I kind of had
Ooh.
here?
Ooh,
I just never heard of
honestly,
this.
I've never used the washable crayons before. I'm
Okay.
assuming you have to use soap for those crayons.
Yeah.
We're not
Okay.
going to use soap.
Yeah.
So,
All right. So it
I
shouldn't
mean,
matter.
yeah, I don't think so. That's a really
Cool.
good one. Catherine says they should be okay. And
Yeah, I figured since
Catherine,
they're still a waxy
yeah,
substance. But I'm just like,
exactly.
oh,
They're
this is weird.
yeah,
Back in
weird.
my
I've
day,
never
they didn't
used
have this. Yeah.
so many options. Yeah.
Hannah,
So I'm gonna go ahead and
how hard do you have to press with the wax to create, or with the crayon to create? Like, I assume you can't draw like real lightly, right? You have to press hard.
Yeah,
Okay.
you're correct. You're correct, because in order for the watercolor to be protected, or I'm sorry, in order for the paper to be protected by the watercolor, you do need to press down a little bit harder. Don't be afraid to press down hard. Even if you break a crayon, I might break a crayon just because that's how I hold it, not because of anything special. It's just how I hold the crayons. So let's get going. Let's draw a big old cloud. This is going to be our main cloud. And I'm going to start by making my lumps. I will curl them in later. I'll go back in and curl them. But for now, let's just start to make this cloud. And your cloud does not have to look like mine. It can look a little different. Sorry, Coco. Scared him. Okay. So there's that. I would like to draw in another cloud. However, I'm going to show this example. Let me bring back this example. You may want a cloud eventually that looks like it's going behind a mountain. So this cloud is behind this mountain right here. So if that's you, if you want that effect, then I would say wait a little bit until you get a mountain range or two in there. For example, if I wanted to, had I thought about this before, I could have drawn my mountain and then waited to draw this cloud here. So kind of figure out later on whether or not you want to push and pull a mountain. So that being said, let's draw our biggest mountain. My biggest mountain, I'm just going to go ahead and make it easy and draw a peak that kind of goes right up here. So I'll start on this side just because it's my shortest side. Now you're welcome to switch colors, or you can stick with the same color. This is our very first mountain color. Again, you can switch colors and have it be different from your cloud, or you can have it be the same. No matter what, it's going to be your very first mountain color. So I'm going to move it up and down as if it has rocky peaks. And as you can see, it's a partial mountain because it's like we're zooming in. We can only see part of the mountain. We're zooming in. Now this is where if I wanted to, I could throw in a mountain or a cloud behind it. I've gone back to my cloud color. Now let's see. I want to show you a picture of the divided mountain peaks again. Let me show you another example. So if we're looking at this one, we've done the first peak, we've done the first part. So that's the equivalent of what you see here, these two things. Now our next thing is to draw our next section in the mountains. So this one's kind of small, but yours, you know, any size, fine. And then decide whether or not you want to put another cloud somewhere below that. So this one, what I did was I made this cloud first, then I made this big mountain, then this one here, and then this cloud. And then later I drew my last peaks. So it's an order of operations depending on which one you want to be behind the other.
And
So for me,
your drawing is pretty thin, right? Because you have new crayons, so they're all thin.
oh, they look kind of thin, but I am pressing down hard. Yeah, I am pressing down hard. So let's see. I'm gonna think that maybe I want to draw a peak here. And then after that, I'll draw a cloud, maybe on this side. Maybe I'll draw this peak coming out here. And actually, I've made it to where this peak kind of looks like it's behind this cloud here. So it comes down here. And make it go down. And then my next step, I already decided I wanted to have a cloud back here, just a little thin cloud. And then I can draw my next peak, my last one, put it right in there. So I've got my 3 peaks, 3 clouds. Now I did promise that we'd be able to create curls on our clouds. I want to point out this one. I feel like you can see the curls very easily in this one. So what I did with this one is what you're going to want to do is pick and choose which of these curls to curve. See how this one really curves into the cloud? This one really curves into the cloud. So pick and choose which of these you'd like to curl based off of the shape that you already drew. So let me go ahead and grab my blue again. Compare it. So let's say maybe I can take this one and then create a curl that goes in like that. Maybe I can do the same with this one. Curl it in. And they don't all have to curl. There we go. Maybe I'll leave that one alone. I'll curl this one in. This is how you can really stylize these things. Down here, I've got a tiny little cloud, so I can curl that in. And there you have it. Now, even with the clouds, I did put some white crayon in there. I don't know how well you guys can see it in the picture, but that'll come later. That'll come afterwards. With one of these other examples, I don't have white in here. I have a light yellow and I have like a light blue. So you don't have to stick to like white and your main color. It can be something completely different. Whatever you want to do. But before we go back into the clouds, let's start to create some of our scribbles. So this is going to be our first color. It's going to be the same color you used to draw the mountains with. And we're going to start at the top and we're going to scribble our way downward and shape our mountains as we go down. Actually, let's switch back to this one instead. feel like you can see it a little bit more clearly in this one. I'm going to take my first color, start at the top here. And each of these scribbles is going to have its own little patch. And I don't know about you, but I tend to create my own little patterns just as I'm going. I do it subconsciously. So you can see it's very evenly spaced in between each of these scribbles.
But
So I do want to try to.
They look orange now. I mean, you think it's just the camera? It
It's
actually
probably
looks
just the
like it has
camera.
watercolor or, you know, some orange hue on it.
I think so. This is,
From the,
it's called,
on the computer screen, but
I thought it was orange. Is it not orange?
melon? It's melon. It says melon.
Oh,
No,
I
no,
thought
I
it
thought
was
it was orange.
I'm
There's-
following your
Yeah.
color coordination, and mine was orange.
I got orange.
Oh man. No, it says melon.
Oh.
Yeah, it's got to be the camera.
yeah, there's a hue on
Well,
the
it's
screen.
orange from us, then.
Yeah, see, there you go. Now, when you do your scribbles, I'm partially gonna follow along with the line that I've already created. See how they're sort of conforming to the direction of this line? And eventually you're gonna want to branch out. But you'll get so used to creating so many of these little scribbles that it'll come to you. Like the way you create these and the direction that they go, that'll come to you. I can have some of them be a little bit bigger than others. It's going to get pretty repetitive, and because we're pressing down harder, I would say take a break every once in a while. Stretch your hand around, stretch your wrist around. Crayons, they always kind of make me tired. So yeah, I would take that little break if you can.
It looks like I'm making either M's and or W's and then some
Yeah.
flashes.
Yeah, I felt like I was doing that a lot with this one over here. Like that's an M for sure.
Yeah.
It's like Charlie Brown chevron, like whatever's on his shirt. I feel like sometimes it looks like the letters, but then other times they stick together. Like I make them super close to each other. Now, eventually, you're gonna, as you go further down the mountain, have more space in between your marks. And that space is going to be room for your second color. That's room for your color number 2. So I'm going to just have them few and far
You say
between,
color
especially
number
down here.
When you say color number 2, do you mean crayon color number 2 or your watercolor?
Crayon color number 2. Yeah. Yeah, we're only working crayons right now. Yeah, I'll let you know when we
You
switch
number
this.
2 that's going to go in the cloud.
No, this is number 2 in the mountain. Number 2 in the mountain. So I'll probably switch to yellow.
I missed that memo.
Yeah, no, you're good. You're good. Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna put, I know I mentioned earlier that you can put your cloud color in your mountains, but that's an option. You don't have to. Let's see. And anytime you're ready, you can actually move on to peak number 2. So you're the second mountain down here. So I'll go ahead and start here. And as I go down, again, it's going to conform to the same direction. Going to go down right here. Going to start to spread out towards the middle. It's very reactionary. So I'm reacting to the marks that I created before. Especially, you can see that, especially as I go down the line here. Maybe for this one, I feel like I want more of my other colors. So I'm going to keep it simple, keep it short for this pink color, this melon. clarify, it's melon. I just think it's so interesting that my camera changes it completely. It looks orange to you guys.
Right?
It's more,
Oh, do you
yeah.
see it in the camera? In your
I don't. Well,
Oh.
actually, I see it in my phone camera. I don't see it in my
Yeah.
computer camera. So yeah, but in my phone camera, it does look orange. But in real life, it looks like melon. Y'all have questions? More questions? Throw them at me. Keep coming.
So the bottom of your top mountain, you don't have marks? Is that intentional or are you going to go back to it? Yeah, right there.
Intentional, because we haven't moved on, at least I haven't moved on to color number 2 yet. I'm still on color number 1. And that's because I want to put all of my first color in each of my peaks, because I went in there and I drew my mountain with the same color. So I want to, just to be consistent, I want to do one color at a time. So that leads me into my next thing, which is me moving into mountain area number 3, my last little section. Again, don't be afraid to, or don't forget actually, to take those breaks. Stretch your hands a little bit, stretch your wrists a little bit. Oops, and see, I told you I was gonna break a crayon. That's just my natural inclination to press down hard. Now I'm noticing on my picture that I tend to stay closer to the edge, because that's where, because like I mentioned, we're reactionary, you know, we're doing marks based off of the marks that we had before. So I'm looking at all this empty space and I just want to go in there and put a few extra marks with that same color, just to kind of spread it out and make it more even. So that fixes that. I still have plenty of space in between these marks. And again, that was just an observation that I had. I feel like I'm doing the same thing to my third section down here. So I'm gonna disperse these colors just a little bit more to make it a little bit more symmetrical. Now, anytime you're ready, we can move on into color number 2. Whenever you're ready. So I'll probably do that in maybe a minute or so.
Did you tell us the psychology of color number 2?
No.
Yeah.
It's along the same idea as my first color. I know that it's a lighter color, and I know that whenever I choose my watercolors, it's going to be very different from it. I would say color number 3, I just wanted that color. That's all. I really wanted that color. It's a plum. Nothing special about it.
Thanks.
Yeah. All right, color number 2. Now I'm going to start a little bit below this general area with my melon. I'm going to continue where I left off, going along the edge of my mountain. Now, even though I created the mountain using my first color, using that melon, I'm still going to go over this line just a little bit.
Is that color yellow? I just want to make sure, because I'm copying you, but now that we know that yours is different, you know.
This is goldenrod.
So it's yellowish, right?
Yeah.
Oh, I have goldenrod. I found it. I'm just gonna use goldenrod too. Thank you.
Yes, it's a darker version of yellow, I would say.
All right, perfect. I'm copying you because I don't know the color wheel.
Yeah, no, you're good. I understand. And for your information, if you're wondering, my next color is going to be plum. You can see plum right there. And again, I just chose that color because I just wanted that color. That's all. Now here I get to start sprinkling this color in between my melon, in between my first color. And that's because I want this color to mix a little bit. And this is my way of mixing. Same types of marks. It's still the little scribblies, except I'm squeezing them in between my melon marks. But I'm also going to start filling in a lot of this other white space too. This is the middle of my mountain, so a good chunk of it's going to be covered in this color. And of course, I do want to leave some space for color number 3. So I am thinking about that. I'm just going to put a little bit over here. This area is still part of my first mountain. So that's what I'm doing. I'm leaving plenty of space in between so that I can come in there and put my plum color, my third color, in between these marks. My hand is getting a workout. Now, at any point, you can move on to anywhere else where you need to put color number 2. I'm dispersing these marks in between color number 1. But I'm also allowing it to create its own path. I'm allowing it to fill in the rest of these blank spaces.
Are you gonna get in trouble if you accidentally color over your number 1 color?
No, not at all.
Because that's happening with me. I have that kind of.
I was about
I don't
to
wanna get
say.
arrested by the art police.
No police here. And my way down the mountain. No, if you happen to overlap, that's absolutely okay. And in fact, it might even happen like even with the clouds because you have so many clouds in the way.
I know, I already did that.
Well, yeah, you're fine. There are
Those
no police here.
clouds.
And I can't say whether or not Coco agrees. My dog, Coco might disagree, but he is a guard dog. I like to joke that he's our alarm system because he will bark. Anybody's outside, he will go crazy.
Yeah, that's what happened to me until my dog lost her hearing.
Oh no, poor
And my bell,
puppy.
well, no, my dog's already gone, but that was
Oh,
the first phase, and I didn't have a bell, and it was during COVID, and I was getting these free meal deliveries that
yeah.
the government was providing, and I couldn't, there was no bell to hear, no dog to bark.
Oh, that was an adjustment for you.
I know, but then I found a neighbor who helps me, and I told him he helped me with my left foot accelerator, and I said, "Oh, what else do you?" He goes, "What do you need?" And I said, "Well, I don't have a bell," and I showed him all these other things.
Yeah.
And like, "Oh, I kind of need a shelf in the garage." So the next day the bell rang. I'm like, "Oh, he put the bell without me." And he's standing there
That's
with the
great.
shelf. He goes, "I found this shelf on the street. You think it's gonna work?"
Oh, that worked out.
So some benefits of being needy,
I remember when,
Oh, you can go ahead.
oh yeah, I was just gonna tell a story about my grandma, but if you have a question, go ahead. or anything. Go
I
ahead.
was just quickly say my little I have two Chihuahuas, Jack and Ollie, and Jack is really, he's smaller, and Ollie is bigger, and they're definitely like the alarm dogs, especially little Jack. He's starting mess all the time, and somebody comes up to the door, like, Amazon delivery or the
Yep.
post office or something. That's our little alarm dog, so he's a good one.
Yeah, it's the little ones. I'm
Yes.
telling you, it's a lot of times it's the little ones.
They have a
but so-
complex, right?
Yes,
I think
absolutely.
so. I think so. He is fearless when it comes to any other dog.
Mhm.
Except for when we go to the dog park and there's other dogs that are loose. Suddenly he's just like, no, okay, I'll be good. I won't say anything.
Uh-huh.
Yep. But put that leash on and he's super brave. Like once you put the leash on, he thinks he's 6 feet
Look.
tall.
Right, you have to hold them back.
Exactly. I really do. He's strong for a little Chihuahua terrier.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he's strong.
It's so funny. I watch so many like MS, I don't know, stuff on YouTube, right? And it seems like just in the past couple of weeks, all of the recommendations. If you have multiple sclerosis, you should get a dog. Let me give you
Really?
reasons to get a dog.
Yeah, but I can't walk my dog anymore. It's like I can't walk a dog anymore.
Yeah. I think it depends. I think it just depends. Yeah.
I actually pay people to come walk my dog.
Okay, that's smart. Yeah. So that's one way to do it.
I'm voting for
just
cats.
just so everybody knows, and we will continue this conversation, by the way. I'm moving on to my third color. So my third color is plum, in case anyone's wondering. So I'm going to continue as usual, as I have been. I'm going to start to fill in most of it, if not all of the rest of my mountain. Again, going in between all of these areas where I have a lot of space. Because no matter what, I want some of these marks to intermingle together. And in fact, in some areas, I even have like all of my colors in one spot. So whatever happens, happens. It's totally fine.
So can you tell me what watercolor you're going to use with that combination?
I don't know yet.
Oh, okay. Because I don't know yet what I'm
I don't
doing.
know yet.
I thought I was going to watercolor in purple, but then I'm like, well, not if I put purple in now.
Yeah, it's almost like a puzzle. It's almost like you have to really think a little bit more critically about this project, which I personally, I love that kind of thing. But at the end of the day, the colors will surprise you no matter what. Even I think that I might know what I want. I think I might know what I'm doing, and I just don't. And I feel like that's part of the beauty of this project, because you can see how the colors interact with each other no matter what. So I might, because this plum color, I'm just thinking off the top of my head, because this plum color is so dark and it's so different from the yellow of obviously. I'm thinking I might actually go with maybe a blue. I might actually go with a blue or maybe a teal, and just add more water to it. Have less paint, more water, because that's going to make it a lighter color. So it may not matter in the end what color I choose for the watercolor, as long as I have more water, less pigment, more water, less paint, in other words. And in fact, with the original picture here, that's exactly what I did, because I knew that this color, this pinkish color, was more of a dark color. I mean, it's not as dark as the plum, but it's still kind of up there. I had to make a choice. Do I use a really, really bright color? Do I use a I don't know, do I use like the opposite color, like a green or something? And I just chose to use a purple with less of the color and more of the water, because it waters it down so that it's more transparent. So at the end of the day, I know it's going to look good anyway because I have less color added to it. So I'm not going to worry too much about that part.
But you know what you're doing. Some of us need to
Not
worry.
always. Not always.
I'm just
Sometimes I
following
am
your
just winging it.
I'm
sorry.
honestly just following your moves, your color choices.
Okay, yeah, go for it. Go
I'm
for
not
it.
good with, the picking out the colors and making sure they're opposite. So it's just so much easier just to try my version of it with your colors.
Hey, go for it. There is nothing wrong with that. And I'm thinking just off the top of my head, I feel like I'd like to choose a tealish blue just because I have it here. It's like a cerulean blue, this one right here. So I'll have less water in that area. I might change my mind, but so far that's what I'm thinking. I also just really like that color too. I also just really love that particular blue. So some of you guys may want to add some white crayon. Now I did add some white crayon. You'll see the white here. And that's an option. I know some people here don't have a white crayon, and that's perfectly fine. Again, it's an optional thing. If you want to add that white crayon, you're not going to be able to see it very well, especially not at first. And I feel like that's part of the fun in it, because especially if you once you put the watercolor on top of it, it pops up. It's like you forgot you put those marks there, but they are there. And so it's just like a fun little surprise. So I'll probably add just a little bit just to show you guys what it looks like once you put the watercolor on top of it. So what I'm going to do is I'll grab my crayon, my white crayon, and I'll put it in between, just everywhere. I don't really think you have to stick to a set spot unless you want to, of course. So I'll just find some areas that have a good amount of space in between, and that's how I'll handle that. Has anyone done anything fun or creative this week or this past month?
I rely on this class for my creativity.
Yeah. Hey, we're glad you're here. Really, though. A little bit of time once a month. Sometimes that's all you need.
This is how I get my creativity too.
Yeah.
I went
Well, I'm
sailing this
glad.
weekend. It was very nice.
That's really cool.
Oh.
I've never been sailing before. Sounds
Oh.
fun.
Sailing.
I went sailing once, and I was wondering why, the next day I was in really pain in my back because I got so nervous every time there was a wave. I was like, oh, I'm gonna tip over.
Oh no. I remember one time going on to one of those water bikes, like you get on it
Jet
and you
ski?
can
A
jet ski. Yes, yes. I got onto one of those one time, and that was really fun.
Super fun. Yeah. Well, I don't sail, but my friend does. I just sit there and look pretty and say I went sailing.
There
That's
you
the way-
go.
That's the
Yeah,
way
that's the way to do it.
That's
way to
an
do it,
important
exactly.
job. Looking good.
Mhm. It's your job to do that.
That's why people sail, so they can get people to come look pretty with them.
I don't think I
Yes.
looked pretty.
Yes, you do, for
No,
sure.
but I
Yes.
mean, I think when I was on that boat, and then my friends got married on a sailboat in the bay, San Francisco Bay. And so I think I learned my lesson about sailboats. And so I did sing, I kind of surprised them with a song. And then she was like, I want to cry. I'm like, no, I want to cry. So I sang a song, and I'm a real pig and I love food. And I looked at that spread of food and I'm like, I don't think so. So I don't think me and sailing are, like,
Oh
compatible.
no. I'm really sad for you. I'd be
What?
so sad if I didn't want to, if I couldn't eat the food, I'd be so
I
sad.
think I force myself, but yeah,
And just so you guys know, I've started putting in the white crayon just for anybody who wants to see it.
yeah.
And mhm. So I can't, speaking of seeing it, I can't see it. Like as I'm putting it on here, I've already forgotten where I previously put it on, but that's okay. I'm gonna let it surprise me in a little bit when we do the watercolor.
Are you doing any in the clouds or no?
I will, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, I broke it. So Brandy, I know you sent me a bunch of crayons, a bunch of white crayons.
Are you through them yet?
I think half of them are broken.
Well, good. They're getting used, which is the point.
They, yeah, they're definitely getting used. Okay, so I'm just gonna throw some in here. Throw some at the top. I have a lot of space up here. And yes, I am gonna throw some of this white in the clouds. Just to reiterate, if you wanted to, you could throw some white in the clouds. You could throw a third color or like a different color other than white if you wanted to do that. And I actually, this is a good time to bring back the clouds. So with these clouds, really, I just wanted to put in something to give it some definition and volume. So this one right here, this is that light yellow that I mentioned. And I started off by following along my lines, but then it just got a little crazy and I didn't want to follow it along anymore. So I didn't. I did some scribbles. There were lots of times when I didn't think it was going to turn out good because of the scribbles, because I got frustrated, but it did turn out really well. I actually really liked the way it turned out. This one was a lot more careful. I went along with I stayed going along with the same types of swirls that I created in the beginning. This one actually has, let me see if I can tell what this is. I think this is like the light blue, or is that purple? I think it's actually light purple. And then also the, what is it? The light yellow as well. So just to show you, what I'm going to do is, I feel like I kind of want to keep it simple. I'm actually going to show you guys how to create those types of swirls, but I'm going to demonstrate using my cloud color, using my blue, because I feel like it's a little bit easier to follow along that way. However, I'm gonna switch in a little bit, and I'm going to do the same thing using my white crayon. But again, I want to demonstrate using this color. So I'll just follow along by making extra swirls. I'm going to go along by making swirls within my swirls first. That's just a good way to start. Make some swirls within your swirls. But then eventually you'll want to, no, it's the same color.
But like, it looks like you're not pushing as hard, maybe?
That's unintentional. I should be pushing harder. Yeah. So yeah, definitely gonna go over that one. So I have a swirl and a swirl here, and then I can just keep that going, and maybe I'll do another swirl going out here. And then
Hannah, do you notice how much more relaxed we are not making birds?
oh yeah.
We're not afraid to ask questions.
So for anyone wondering, I taught a Monday class with another organization for multiple sclerosis, and the lesson was about birds, and it was a drawing lesson, and it was hard. It was a lot. A lot. You guys did fantastic though. Like, I know there was a lot of silence, but really, like, once the big reveal happened at the end, they really blew me out of the water. Like y'all did such a good job. So
That is
don't be
true.
so hard on yourself.
That's true, because that's just a testament to what a great teacher you are.
Thank you. I was really, really amazed at what you guys can do. And just as a little side note, I've started to add the white crayon into the clouds now. Again, retracing my footsteps with that idea of making swirls within swirls. However, I've come to see that I don't have anything in this little spot here. So you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna scribble. I'm just gonna.
Are you making the squirrels? Squirrel, sounds like
Squirrels.
squirrels. Inside the squirrels? or outside?
Yes. Swirls everywhere. It's like it's in well, it's inside the cloud, if that's what you mean. Like
Yeah,
it's just
inside the cloud, but would you start another swirl? Like, I didn't watch how you were doing it. Somebody came to my door.
Oh yeah. Yeah, so I'm doing it along it, but also underneath it, really everywhere. And my hand, like, it's a little shaky, like it's starting to get a little shaky in like the tight areas. So they're just wiggling in and out, and I'm just gonna go with it. So my aim is around what I have, but that's not always happening, and that's okay. Like
it's really hard with the white one. Like it's exhausting because you can't see what you've done. So I just get like, I don't know, whatever.
The thing about the white crayon is that you have to let go of control. And I think that's why I love it so much, is because it forces me to not worry about the outcome. Because no matter what, it's going to look great anyway. And I know it's going to look great. So, and you don't have that control because you don't really see it so much. So yeah, that's the whole idea behind it. And I know it's a little scary, but fun.
It's not as scary as the birds.
Not as scary as the birds. I have faith in you. I do. That one is recorded, so you can go back to it if you want.
I was surprised. I'm going to send it to you because the next day I actually liked what I saw.
Me too. And I was frustrated, but
drawing's a whole other beast.
And also, everyone, as a fun fact, Hannah is a bird saver and rescuer when she needs to be.
Along with her mother.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, that project came about because I rescued me and my mom rescued a bird. It had fallen from the rafters at her work, and her job wouldn't allow them to go up and put the birds back up way up high where it was. So we had to go and take it to a rescue. So I went and I picked it up from her workplace and I took it to the wildlife sanctuary. So that's how that project was born.
Oh, I didn't know that part.
Oh, and so now we can really feel proud about what we did. In bird solidarity.
Exactly. Should be proud. So we're gonna start the watercolors. I'll give y'all a couple seconds. I'll kind of start to think about what I think I'm gonna use as my watercolors now. This is where we'll want to choose 3 colors. If you want to choose 4, you're more than welcome to choose 4. If you want to stick to 2 colors, that's fine. I'm not going to blame you. I want to or report you. I'm not going to report you to the art police. No. No. Those will be located at some universities, and we're not going to do that.
If you are an art police person, you better be off duty for this class. You can be an art police in your own time, not at the AnCan Art Friends studio.
Thank you.
Yes, not here. The safe space, everyone.
I was like, mine doesn't even look like mountains at this point. Who knows what mine looks like at this now?
I cannot wait to see it. I can't wait.
It just looks like blobs of colors now because
Yeah.
I see the clouds, but the mountains I think got lost within the colors. But I'm having a good time, so that's what matters.
Good. That's really good. I think that we can start off with the clouds first. As you can see here, I chose 2 different colors for the clouds. I think that's a bit much personally. I'm really just gonna use one color for the cloud. As you can see with this one right here, it's just yellow, or another golden color actually is darker than yellow. So just one color, and that's really all we need. But again, if you want to choose 2 colors, you can certainly do that. So what color am I going to choose, you ask? Well, I mentioned earlier that I actually really want to do golden clouds again. So my color is going to be yellow. And I know already that yellow is vastly different from blue. So I think I'm on the right track. If I were to take a look at my lovely little cheat sheet here, my yellow is here, blue's all the way over here on this side. So I think I'm good. So I'm gonna take, I think for this one, I will use my pointy brush just because it's a little bit smaller. Because I mentioned earlier that we may not use both brushes. You might use both brushes. I don't know. Just kind of depends on your situation. So I feel like this cloud is small enough to warrant the pointy brush, for me at least. Almost grabbed my drinking water. I don't want to do that. First thing I want to do is actually just put some water onto my palette. So let me move my crayons. And let's just wet it. Put some water on there. That's all we need. And personally, I like to put water on my painting area first. I feel like that just kind of primes it. That just kind of it makes it to where the water can spread really nicely if we put a good amount of water on top of it. And when I say a good amount of water, I mean puddles. It's a lot of water. So really pile it on there. And I'm trying to stay within the confines of the cloud. So I'm pointing it outward, kind of pointing it towards the outside, just because I know that I can have more control over it if I did that. And again, lots of color here, priming it up, puddles of water. I'm just going to do one cloud at a time, so no need to jump to the other ones, no need to prime the other ones. We'll just do our big cloud first. Then I'm going to go back and I'm ready for some color. I want to mix this up just to make sure there's plenty of paint mixed in with the water. And I'm going to take this and I'm going to tap. Now you can tap the color in there if you really just want to watch the colors go, watch them spread, or you can start to paint it in there. And I can see already that I'm using the blue and it's turning green. So if I want to stay away from that kind of color change, I can go back and add more water. I'm going to balance it with more water. I'm moving this paint out of the way.
Do you have a
Let's not-
reason why you chose to do the watercolor of the clouds first?
Yes, because it's a larger area. It's larger. There's not as many places where we have to squeeze our brush into small areas. It's just a blob. So I wanted to make sure you guys had a little bit of practice in.
Oh,
Yeah. So now I'm
Yeah,
just
it's definitely
spreading
turning
this-
green.
Yeah, so definitely use more of that water and
Okay.
spread it out of the way.
I don't hate the green. I just Green.
It's green, yeah. Not what you were expecting, yeah. So in fact, I'm actually gonna scooch more of this pigment into the middle here. Because that middle, I mean, I don't have any green here. So if you wanted to do that, just kind of scooch it off to the side with more of that water. And then this provides a good opportunity to provide some variation in color. So I can take more of my color, my yellow, and tap it in there so it doesn't spread too far, too fast. But I'm just tapping it in this area that doesn't have any blue. Same thing with here. And this tapping will allow me to give a subtle amount of color without spreading it too much on top of my crayon. So tap it in there. So a little bit goes a long way, at least for my color. I'm sorry, at least for my watercolor brand, a little goes a long way. Now, every watercolor brand is going to be a little bit different. For some, you may have to use more water and kind of tone it down with more water. Sometimes you'll have to use more pigment because it may not be as pigmented. It just depends on the brand.
So you're deliberately doing lighter and darker spots?
Exactly. Yes. So for the areas that I want to be darker, I'm just targeting the wider spots. So this area here, I'm making sure it's not really touching the blue crayon. Tapping right in between wherever I can.
I used to get so nervous and now I'm so excited. I want to see what's going to come out.
Yay! Yeah, you've come a long way, Karen.
Yeah, because
really...
I was trying to follow your color thing, and then I went, no, because Hannah said, Karen, trust your instincts. So
Very good.
You got this. You got this. Now I'm going to go ahead and move on to cloud number 2. And back here, I'm going to start all over again with the water. Adding those puddles of water right there. Gonna try to go around the mountain as best as I can, but if you accidentally get a little bit of paint inside the mountain or maybe outside of the cloud into the sky, that's okay. Now I'm gonna start again with some of that yellow. Maybe this time I'll be a little more conservative and just kind of tap my way around. Rather than painting over the whole thing, maybe I'll just try to tap. I feel like I can do that because it's such a small area. Just keep on going and just keep swimming. Keep swimming.
It's a very cool, like different of a dimension between the watercolor and the crayons. I've never used both in the same whatever I would call this, like creativity. I don't know. I've never used stuff like this. So it's like a different texture.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah. Honestly, I think a lot of people in elementary school, I think they like kids in elementary school, they do this kind of project a lot. And it's possible that us as adults, we just don't remember that we ever did it because it's, so long ago, we're adults now. But yeah, it's very common. Like kids do this project all the time, and it's not common to organize it into an interesting picture, I love scribbles though. Like I remember when I was first going through all of my like MS craziness, I was diagnosed with MS and, really going through a hard time and couldn't really do my artwork. And so the thing I was going to be when I grew up, okay, I was going to be an artist. And so I couldn't really do all the things I wanted to do as an artist. And so I had to really like jump back into basics. And for me, the basics meant scribbling, and it meant like going back to like childhood projects that, you know, things I used to do when I was a kid, and learning how to use the mediums all over again. So I just felt like it's, I feel like we need more projects like this, you know, just like bring out our inner kid and just kind of go for it and not really have too many expectations on ourselves. It's hard
Absolutely.
enough just, yeah, I mean, it's hard enough just being an adult, right? And now we have MS on top of that. So I don't
And
know, that's just my philosophy.
no, I agree with you. I mean, like, I feel like growing up, we were always told to color within the lines. I've never
Mm-hmm.
been within the lines color. I love coloring outside the lines. When I
Yeah.
paint, it's all abstract. It doesn't look like anything, but like that's what I like. And I remember as a
Yeah.
little kid, I remember scribbling with the black like marker or black crayon or colored pencil on a paper. It would be tons of scribbles. And then I would go in and color the in between lines. And those were my favorite kinds of art that everyone's like, well, that's not really art, but that was what I enjoyed,
Oh,
you know?
yeah. Yeah, that's what you enjoyed. That's what you did. Yeah, I love that. And so you would color in between the scribbles that you did.
Oh, I love
Did I
that.
hear
I,
that right?
God, I did that for
Yeah.
years. Oh my God. I
Oh,
haven't done that in a while. And I follow a lot of creative people on Instagram. And I saw someone doing something like that the other day. I was like, oh my gosh, I just felt so seen, I just felt so like,
aw,
it was cool.
yeah. Oh, that makes me really happy though. Yeah, I love that. That makes me really happy that you felt that way.
Yeah. Just gotta find
Um,
what works for us.
I want to continue the conversation, but I
Oh,
also
Hannah, I
want
was
to,
just gonna do
ah,
an FYI for everyone. If you are almost done with your art or you're done with your art and you need to go to bed or you're tired, holler at us, wave your hands, and you want to show it, just let us know and we'll absolutely spotlight you so you can get on. So if everyone's fine, that's cool. But if you're not, just let us know.
yeah. So yeah, so any takers before I move on into the mountain? Okay. So I want to just show you this example one more time before I move on into the mountains. And I want you to know that the colors that I'm about to choose are probably not going to have anything to do with each other, but I'm going to blend them all in just the same. So this color right here, this really dark purple that you see, compared to this green down here, these colors are pretty different. They're pretty vastly different from each other. So the idea is to blend the colors together. Whatever you choose, I'm going to teach you how to blend them together so that they look cohesive, so that they blend from one color into the next. So that being said, I have very different crayon colors here too. So keep that in mind. That's why I'm thinking that my colors are going to be very vastly different from each other. I'm talking about my watercolors. My watercolors are going to be very different from each other. So let me just sort of, I guess, talk out loud what my whatever's going on through my head. I can see here that this melon color, it's probably somewhere in between like an orange and a pink, really. I don't know. So I don't know where that quite fits on here. But I do know that it goes somewhere along these lines, somewhere on this side. So an opposite color would be like this blue purple or blue or just purple or even green. Like these colors would be an opposite color of this melon color. Same thing with orange. So I know a lot of you guys use orange. Um, Same thing. So I would say no matter what you choose, it's going to look really nice. So, I don't know. Out of all of those colors, I love purple. So I think that I'm going to choose purple just because I always gravitate towards that color. And that's my reasoning. If you like the color, go with that color. Go with your gut instinct. So I like purple. I'm going to do purple. I would say this lovely purple is my favorite of all the purples. So I have my water. I put a bunch of water there. Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot to mention priming. Putting the water, the clean water, the blank water on top of this area. And you definitely don't need to be precise at all. In fact, I got a few little, little droplets outside of my mountain, and I'm just gonna go with it. And I'm not gonna go very far. I'm not gonna cover the entire mountain in my water, just the general area that I'm gonna work with. I'm gonna stick to this spot just for now, just the general area. When you're ready, once you've got your puddles of water, you can take your color. And for me, again, that's this lovely purple right here. And then watch it go.
How many
I'm gonna
colors you're gonna choose for the mountain?
three colors. Because I've spread that water in ahead of time, that's really helping the colors to go further a little faster. And because I've pressed down so hard with these colors, it's sort of pulling away. It's pulling away from the crayon.
And are you starting with the lighter or the darker, or what's your?
So it's on a case-by-case basis. So my particular color, the melon, I know just from looking at the color wheel that this purple is pretty far away from my orange and my melon color. So that was my line of reasoning. It's somewhere on the opposite end. It's over on this side. So that's why I chose purple.
No, I'm saying
And-
you're gonna pick 3 colors. So are you gonna start with your
Oh.
lighter of the mountain
Oh,
color or the?
oh. No, I'm actually starting at the top here, specifically the top because it has a lot of space to work with. Does that make a little more
The
sense?
watercolor that you're choosing, are you choosing the lighter of your watercolor, the darker of your watercolor?
Oh, I'm sorry. Ooh, I'm choosing the darker. So that means that I want to add more of the pigment here. And in fact, I'm even adding more to it to make it even darker than what it is. So yes, I'm choosing the darker.
And then did I hear you say you're gonna do 2 other colors in addition to your purple? Or did-
Yes, and that's because we chose 3 crayon colors. So we'll want 3 different colors to blend together as our watercolors.
So that's what my question is. Is it
Mhm.
going to be, are you starting with your darker of your 3 colors?
I'm really just starting at the top. Like it's not really like a question of darker or lighter in my head, when I'm thinking about this. I'm just thinking of I have more space up here, so that's where I want to do it. Where I want to start. And I'm thinking in relation to the crayon. So the crayon color that I chose, I know that purple is going to stand out quite a lot. So it's darker.
So just to make sure I'm understanding. So since our 3 colors are all blended together of
Mhm.
crayons, how do we blend the watercolors together? I don't know. I don't know how to do that.
Yeah.
I'm not
So
very good at creativity.
Yeah, no, you're good.
confusing
That's
us.
actually that's the next section, actually. That's a good segue into the next section. We're going into, I've done just the top right here, and now I'm going to move on into the middle of the mountain now. So the middle of the mountain, that's where, again, we want to put our water, so just plain water, nothing else. So I'm going over my middle section here. Just the plain water. And I'm even going to jump here because I recognize this area as my middle section. So I'm going to put all the water here.
So is that the golden part or the plum color?
That's the golden part
Okay.
over the crayon. So it's the middle section. And that's where
Right.
I put the golden color.
Mine's just everywhere.
Yeah, no, that's okay. That's okay. Now, here's my thought process when it comes to choosing a color for the middle section. And this middle section is going to go over the gold color. I'm thinking that just looking at my palette, I do feel like this color would look pretty good on top of this gold color. I mean, I know it's already a dark color, and I know that it may not be very far from the color wheel, but you know, that's just a guide. It's just a general guide. I know from looking at the color that it's pretty dark, and because it's dark, I'm gonna go with it. So it's gonna be this one right here. It's like a teal-ish color. It's like a greenish teal, actually. So I've already put my puddles of water down. And now I can start to paint with this second watercolor. And I can go ahead and overlap my purple just a little bit. I can overlap my purple watercolor, the part that I was just on right here. Because I have so much water here, it's blending all on its own without me even doing anything. I'm just tapping a little bit of that green water, guiding it up. It's already really wet, so it's already blending on its own with just the water. Now I can move on to this side. And let me just add some of this color to this side. And again, this is still my middle section of the mountain. Now, my middle section it's pretty tiny, it's pretty small. So I don't know where you guys are at with this. But whenever you're ready, you can start the process again, this time for the bottom of the mountain. So bottom of the mountain, I'm gonna go over with just my water. Make sure I have plenty of puddles here. And it's absolutely okay if some of these areas overlap. Like I'm accidentally dragging some of this greenish color into the mountain. I'm sorry, I'm accidentally dragging the greenish color into the bottom portion of my mountain, and that's okay. It's not a lot. And now my third color, this color is going to overlap my plum color crayon. So I know already that orange is going to be the opposite of plum here. They're vastly different colors just from looking at it. So I'm going to choose this orange to go over my plum color right here. And again, I'm letting the water guide me. And eventually, you're going to want to overlap, or at least I'm going to want to overlap this orange with the green. And it's just the nature of these two colors to create a brown color. And since we're painting mountains anyway, it's absolutely okay that we have these browns here. My only issue is that I feel like I have a little too much water. I'm sure some of you guys might have that issue too, where you might have a little bit too much water. So this is where your napkin can come in handy. You just wrap it around your finger and sort of tap some of the color away, just a few taps here and there. Just to pick, I just want to mention real quick that I'm moving into the second section right here. So that's the middle of this particular mountain. And I'm doing things all over again. So just kind of putting in that second watercolor color, which is that teal green. And for me,
Hey, Hannah, so sorry to interrupt you. I just want to let you know that you are about to get hit by another front. I'm about to get hit by another front. I wanted to check real quick. Yeah, just if you came in late, Hannah and I are both in a severe weather thing. So I've been checking as the technical producer. I have been checking the weather while Hannah's been teaching art. So is there anything else that you need to teach specifically for this, or is it the exact same process as coloring in the rest?
It's the same process. Yes.
Okay.
It's the same process no matter what. And yeah, after that, we're pretty much done. So
Okay, so what I would say is, because we absolutely want to share, if you would like to share your art, let's go ahead and do that. And we understand that it might not even be finished yet. That is fine.
yeah, and that is okay. We would love to see your work no matter what. Just make sure that the puddles are to a minimum.
Yeah.
Hey,
Really
Sharon.
weird.
I see. Yeah, I see Sharon.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
See, those colors are really nice. I love the way everything just fits together so nicely.
That's nice.
Yeah,
It's beautiful.
you did so good, Sharon.
Thanks.
Nice job.
The
That was
yellow
fun.
is so striking.
I'm just
Yeah.
loving the 3 mountain colors.
I like them too.
Yeah,
Good.
you did
Purple's my
great.
favorite color, so
Great
Good.
job.
Yeah.
thank you.
Awesome.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Sharon. Have a good
Sharon.
night.
Jeanette, did you want to share? I think I saw you.
Oh, well, I'm always challenged. I didn't have the crayons. I had
Oh,
type of crayon, and I ended up with green clouds.
Oh, it's beautiful.
It's
That's really
really,
neat, though.
lovely. I love the shape of your clouds. I love like the whole composition. I like it.
Oh, thank you.
Great job, Jeanette. As always. Always get inspired by
Yeah.
Jeanette.
Thank you.
fabulous. Yeah.
Yeah, that was
Anyone
really nice.
else like to share?
But I am going to go back and try to do it with crayons.
Mhm.
That's incredible. This has been a great lesson. Thank you.
Good. I'm glad. Thank you. Yeah, anyone else like to share?
I want to ask, can I ask about the sky? What are we going to do with the sky? I can't do anything unless you tell me. What?
The sky. Honestly, I never know what to do with the sky. With this one, I just used a crayon and I chose a light color. So that was like a light blue right up here. And so I just decided to scribble. I just scribbled in the sky. I didn't really want to add any color to it because personally I didn't want it to stand. I didn't want it to, or I did want it to stand out actually. So the white is so much different from all the other colors. That was really it. It was just the scribble. So if you want to scribble, pick a light color if you can. And again, you don't even have to address it at all. So I found a gray, just a random, oh no, here. I found like a purple color called Purple Mountains Majesty. Works out
perfect.
nicely. It's perfect.
Imagine that.
So all I have to do is just scribble away. Now these are very loose, fluffy, light scribbles. That adds quite a lot, actually. I wasn't
like
expecting
it.
that. Yes, so that's all you need, just some scribbles, if anything at all.
Would
Okay,
anyone?
Alexa,
Okay, here we go. I'm spotlighting you.
never mind.
Never mind.
Not you.
Oh.
Sorry. She who has the same name as you.
Yes.
So I'm not really thrilled
wow.
with the mountain because I didn't have the light colored
Beautiful.
crayons, but I'm happy with the clouds.
I love
yes.
it.
Your mountains are so nice. Like I
I
don't
think you
see
did
why
great.
you're not
Amazing.
happy with it.
I love it.
I
It
like
looks like leopards too, you know? It's just
Yes.
I feel like you did such a good job blending the two
Yes.
colors. The colors are so nicely blended together. Yeah, I love it. I think you did a really good job.
Can you
Oh,
see
yeah.
the yellow swirls in my cloud?
Mhm. Yep, I can see the swirls. I feel like they remind me of Disney movie Hercules, where you see swirls
Oh,
everywhere.
yeah.
That's what they remind me of. I
Aw.
love it.
Yes,
love
love
it.
it. Amazing. We need it for the gallery. That's going to be a great
Mhm.
addition.
Yes.
Did you get a
yes.
picture?
No, can you send one to me?
Oh, yes, I can.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, we would love to showcase you guys in our online gallery. So
Yes.
if you could please email one of us, either Alexa or I, we'd love to put it up there.
and
So.
even a fake name. For those
Even
who-
a fake name.
Absolutely.
those who don't want to.
Absolutely.
We
The
already
artist
have
formerly known as.
Party Monster, who is our good friend, who
Yes.
just art by Party Monster. So it doesn't
He does.
matter
Oh,
at
yeah, yeah.
all. So
Yeah,
I
we
know
have
some of you are still working hard. We'd love to see your art. Please take a picture and send it to us. And
Can I
Hannah,
show you mine?
yes, Karen, of course. Here.
Yeah. Let's see it.
I'm not happy with my orange clouds. I thought they were going to be so cool, but I'm not happy about them now.
Oh,
I did orange clouds
see.
too.
Oh, lovely.
Whoa, I love
How are
it.
you not happy?
How do you do it on a tablet?
I
That's
don't
how-
know. I kind of want yellow, like Hannah's yellow.
I love them. I really do. For me, it's the textures you were able to create. They look
Yeah.
fluffy to me.
Yeah.
It's the textures, it's the swirls you were able to do. And again, I know you're really good at color coordinating, and I'm loving all the colors that I'm seeing. So you did
Yeah.
really good, Karen.
Yeah, it's beautiful. The
All right,
color
maybe
palette's
tomorrow it'll make
amazing.
me happy.
Tomorrow, yes.
I'm having a
Little-
little
little
trouble
space.
with blending my watercolors.
Okay. Let me
Mine don't look
see.
blended. Mine just look like, well, I guess I'll just show you. Mine just look like big
Cover your
splotches
face.
of
Cover
color.
your face when you do it, right? So, like,
See, how do I turn it around? Where is it? How do I okay, how do I flip it? Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
I'll spotlight you real
Ooh,
quick.
fancy.
And I'm just on my floor right now. I don't have a big table in here, so I'm just sitting on the floor.
Oh,
How,
nice.
but you
Fancy.
see, it's
Yeah, I
not
see.
blended. How do I
I see
blend
some
it?
of that. What I'm seeing is a lot of water, actually. So what
Too
you're
much
going to want
water?
to do is you can take your brush, a clean brush,
Okay.
dry it off a bit. And I actually want to see if I can recreate
Here,
what's
so I'll
going
remove
on
your
with you.
spotlight and then I'll put it back on.
Yeah, I'm
Thanks.
gonna, for sure, I'm gonna recreate your issue, okay? Which is I'm seeing a lot of water. So
Follow
here's
the
how we
directions
fix
of
it.
putting water everywhere.
Yeah, and you did great. You really did great. So here we go. Lots of water.
And I was confused. I was putting the colors where the color combination was, but then I just, yeah.
Yeah, well, it looks great. Here's what I can do. So I clean the water, and
Okay.
now I can target the biggest puddle. So for me, this is a pretty puddly puddle right here. So I can essentially take away some of this water from the most concentrated area first. See how it's suddenly lifting up a lot of that water? It's taking the pigment with it, but that's okay. Now I can go back in there. I've taken a large portion of that water away from this area, and I'm going to go back in there and take a little bit of just the pigment itself, just the paint. I can go in there, go right on top of it, and just little by little work my way up, work my way overlapping whatever color is close to it. And this is just one section. I would go section by section. I'm gonna clean it up, I'm gonna dry off my
And how do you get
brush.
it to not look muddy? Mine's now looking muddy.
I think it'll just take a little at a time, like taking
Okay.
off some of that just within the one section.
Okay.
So I've taken that off, and now I can go right back in and reapply just the pigment. So it's got plenty of water to soak it up from the paper. I'm just going in with the paint, going right on top.
So in part of it, you put water, and then to get it darker, you just use the pigment without water.
Exactly. Yeah. When you're trying to fix it up like this, you just use the pigment alone. And in fact, just now I had squeezed some of the water out, and then I'm going to go back in and take some of the pigment
And
then
that works
apply it
because
right
you
back on
already,
top.
and Hannah, that works because you already have so much water on your paper.
Yes, that's it. There's already so much water that's been sucked into the paper,
Right.
that you'll do just fine putting it back on there with just the pigment. There we go.
You know, I remember
There
like
you have it.
watercolors are a lot harder to use than people anticipate.
Yeah.
Yeah, they are tougher. Yeah, they
I've
are
never
tougher.
used watercolors before.
Have we not done a watercolor project in this class? We have.
Well,
We have. Yeah, we have.
You have, I have not,
Oh, okay.
because I wasn't here for all of them.
Yeah.
So I know I need to get a bigger set of crayons. What else
Yep,
do I
me
need?
too.
What else do I need to get for future art classes, Hannah?
Well, next time we're gonna do an acrylic painting project. So if you need more paints,
Oh,
why
wow.
not?
Yay.
Yeah.
I have that, and
Yeah.
I bought an extra thing of white.
Oh yeah, yeah, because we use that's honestly, I have more white paint than I have anything else because we use a lot. So if you want to get another canvas, more white paint just to kind of stock up, yeah, that's one. I'm still trying to like figure out which one I want to, which of my paintings I want to do.
Did you want to share? Okay.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
please.
Still
We're going
wet,
to end
so
on a
let's
high note, everybody.
see if I can get this.
Woo.
Can you
Oh, those are
Yay.
beautiful.
can you see them?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we can see them. What?
Okay, I
Wow.
tried
Did
to
you?
do. Sorry, this is odd. Yeah, I just thought I'd try a couple different options. So Karen, I tried the orange cloud too.
Uh-huh.
I like the yellow one
Then you
better.
added another color on the
You did
second
those
one.
so
You know, I
fast.
might do that. I might just add another color.
Yeah,
Yeah,
maybe see
this
how
was
that
great.
works
This was
for
great.
you.
Thank
I
you so
love the
much.
color palette.
I always copy
Uh-huh.
Brandy. Brandy,
Brandy,
always
just
great
Brandy,
ideas.
just put it back real quick. Can you put on your art real
Sure.
quick? Okay. We wanted to end on
Oh,
a
those are
high note, so
beautiful.
that is how we're going to end with Brandy's artwork. Thank you, everyone, so much, and we will be in touch.
Thanks,
Good night,
Brandy.
everybody.
Bye, everyone. Good night.